World Development System. Chapter 171. Duke rebuked the minister as he didn't want to hear these words while he was losing ships every other minute. I have already lost enough of my men. Deploy those weapons on our ships immediately. We can't afford to lose more men. Start mass production. It is still better than nothing. Those nobles too are getting restless nowadays after those raids and losing so many of their ships from that upstart. Duke continued as he spoke with an unmatched aura. That count has anyway offended the king. We have nothing to worry about when we attack them. Start targeting them near the eastern port. He thought, heck, if that king really pisses me off, I might as well ally with dwarves. They already showed me their worth after looking at those new weapons. However, their ambitions are quite worrying. One of the ministers murmured to his colleague, it looks like he has finally lost his cool. Other bureaucrats spoke, yes, however, it is good that Count John offended the king, which is to our favor, or else it would have been problematic attacking the ships near eastern port. The minister spoke as he heard them, you wouldn't want to be heard by others. The outskirts of North Frontier City. Currently, there was mass production of cannons and rifles being carried out at one of the secret workshops on the outskirts of North Frontier City. It was currently guarded by 200 guards who were equipped with rifles and cannons in the base. None of the wild animals approached the base. One of the engineers asked other men, though we can't leave the workshop quarters for 2 months. The life here is quite good when it comes to food and alcohol. The dwarf looked at the boy and spoke, it seems you are new over here. Well, those are surely the perks. The only thing you may miss is your family or lover. But since it is wartime and these are precautions taken by the management, I guess these are likely our new weapon workshops, as it is frequently visited by Master Tornwall and Taylor. So the security is also to be expected. However, it is compensated in the form of 5 times extra wages to everyone present. It is quite good, as I am able to buy that expensive alcohol every 2 days. I miss the factory. The youth nodded and spoke, yes, I too came because of these perks and benefits. I intend to marry and buy a home in the new residential area that is being developed recently. The dwarf spoke gravely, kid, it's all good, but you can never reveal about this workshop or the weapons we created here to anyone outside, or you will be hunted down for treason. You already read the contract before signing, right? The kid nodded and scratched his head as he looked around. Of course I understand the importance of hiding our important weapons. I just recently came here from the Rose Institute. Currently I will work as an engineer under I don't know. Wait, I need to find out. The dwarf laughed as he stopped the kid. No need to go anywhere, kid, I will be your supervisor, kid. Don't judge me by my appearance. Come, we have bigger work this time. I hope to finish tomorrow's work as well, since it is wartime. My name is Redbeard. The kid was surprised as he exclaimed, you are the famous Mr. Redbeard who is involved in a lot of projects in the town currently. I heard you previously handled the distillery in our town. I see why you were missing the factory. Redbeard stroked his beard as he frustratingly spoke, yeah, currently one of my subordinates handles it. Lucky Basta D. So what is your name? The kid scratched his head and spoke, I am sorry, I still didn't introduce myself. My name is Saran. I am 19 currently. Previously I worked as a farmer. Redbeard nodded as he headed inside. Come, let head in. After 1 week, there were 2 elf ambassadors who were currently coming with Duke Rose on their first visit to the North Frontier domain and make a big deal with them as mentioned by Duke Rose. The name of those ambassadors was Allison and Mist. Mist smiled and spoke after looking at the seas and the security arrangement made by Duke Rose. It looks like the drums of war have already been blown just by looking at the eastern seas. Mist turned to Rose and asked, there is quite a lot of patrol by your men in the seas, Rose. Rose sighed and showed his empty hands as he explained to both of them, yes, even my hands are tied right now because of the northern and western borders. On the one side, there are those lackeys of Duke Fjord, and on the other side, there is Black Wolf waiting for me to make a move. It will be disastrous if we are caught unprepared, and hence the high amount of patrol these days. By the way, how were you able to notice about the drums of war without even witnessing one fight? I think I made sure you don't experience any skirmishes right now during our travel." Mist smiled and pointed in the direction of the seas and explained, "True. I was able to determine because of that." Rose was confused and spoke, "Because of the seas?" Mist pointed towards a shark and explained, "No, it's the animals in the seas, they are quite afraid. We were able to know about war because of their emotions of fear. See, most of the sea animals are running away as soon as they spot any ships. It isn't usually the case. Even the wild aquatic animals. I guess you too should be able to sense the emotions of the animals. I guess it is because you were never raised by elves and hence the lack of understanding from your part. You can visit us if you want to learn those techniques." All the people in the deck were quite astounded as they heard Mist. Rose nodded as he understood. Rose indicated his men to head to Eastern Port quickly. After arriving at the northeastern city borders, Allison commented, "It looks like this Count is quite a capable man when it comes to the management of his domain." Mist nodded as he saw the town and all the roads. He commented, "The streets are in quite a good condition. Quite better than our imperial city. The travel here wasn't bumpy as I expected. Anyway, let's head on our way and see him personally for ourselves." Rose agreed and spoke, "Yes, that would be better." Duke Rose was quite respectful to both of them during their whole journey, which indicated their authority and position in the Ionanoer kingdom. Allison exclaimed in surprise as he spotted a villager coming to North Frontier Town in a bicycle, "Who there are a lot of interesting things in this city apart from the papers which we were initially interested in. That tool for traveling is quite novel and interesting. Who made them? I am quite interested in the inventor." One of the sailors who was originally from North Frontier Town explained, "Yes, a convenient tool for traveling short distances. This was actually made by Mr. Tornwall's workshop while the designs were provided by Count John." Mist noticed the clock tower and administrative headquarters as he exclaimed, "I am more interested in the food and architecture over here. That palace and that unique tower seem a work of masterpiece. I heard the food in this town is quite good. Some of the famous foodie traders in the Imperial City were full of praise about that restaurant called Hope." Allison too noticed the clock tower and spoke in surprise, "This is quite a masterpiece. How were you guys able to make such grand and beautiful structures? I am sure even the Queen would be mesmerized by such beautiful structures." He ended after looking at the administrative headquarters in envy, which looked like a palace. He muttered, "Going to work in that palace must be quite refreshing." The guide immediately explained, "Yes, this one of the proud work of our city planner and chief engineer. Both of them collaborated to make this tower. The city planner, Refone, he is a half-elf just like Duke Rose. The chief engineer Tornwall, who is a dwarf. Currently, Master Refone is building castles in our southern borders after I asked my mates about the current situation of the city. Meanwhile, Master Tornwall is busy with his other projects. I think we will be able to meet Master Refone and Tornwall both during our stay. That unique tower which you saw earlier is called the Clock Tower. The brainchild of this project was Lord Joan himself, as he was the one who provided the blueprints for the clock. Because of these architectures, the tourists have increased as well. I guess Lord John had two things in the mind when making the clock tower. 1. The sense of time among the populace, and 2. Potential benefits of such a unique tower." Allison asked confusingly, "Sense of time? Isn't it just a unique tower with very good architecture?" The guide shook his head, "No." He continued and explained about the use of clock tower, which surprised a lot of people on the deck who didn't know about the tower. Mist exclaimed as he heard about the tower in detail. "Good, good. Truly a masterpiece. Count John is quite a capable man to use this clock tower to such an extent." Mist showed a smile to Allison as both of them were quite impressed with the North Frontier domain and were quite interested in trading with them after touring the town. Mist spoke, I guess trading with them would bring a lot of benefits to us. They have a number of unique products which would improve our domain. The bicycle or paper or those wheelbarrows for example. They also have quite a good taste in the art after looking at their furniture shops. What do you think, Allison? Allison spoke in a serious manner, looking practically. There is the problem of the current war where it would be very hard to travel and trade. Well, it would still be manageable since they have these ballistas. Allison smiled and spoke, we can buy some from them. Mist smiled and nodded, yes, anyway I am sure Princess would be happy if our problem of paper consumption is solved. Allison, yes, those magicians and rune masters spend quite an amount of papers every day. Which is quite irritating to her. Mist, come let's head to meet the Count. Henry was currently meeting Shannon in a pub at Laguna City. Shannon opened his mouth as he saw Henry in a disguised, I heard about your situation. So how are you right now? Henry spoke seriously, looking for my kid, and looking for certain people who conspired against me and my family. I need your help. Shannon spoke as Henry, if you are asking me to help you against Duke Fjord then I will immediately kill you here right now. Since I took the oath I will not be betraying my lord. If you want help in finding your kid I will use my all to find him. Henry humphed and spoke, humph. I want Darius. You know what happened, right? Shannon thought for a bit but he still rejected, looking as we are old friends and as I was quite expectant about you, I won't pursue you. Though I have my differences with Darius and he isn't good as a knight but I won't let that be used. However, I won't interfere in your right to avenge your family as well. So who are you working for, right now? I hope you are not being used by them. Henry didn't even look as he left without saying and left a note with reading, no one. Is it really worth it, serving Fjord? Shannon was quite surprised after looking at the note. He thought, I thought he already joined someone else. I guess I was wrong. He contemplated as he read the note. He immediately burned the note as he left. He thought, I guess I am overthinking. Allison was quite surprised as he looked at the pharmacy and read the description of pills, so they have a cure for malaria, typhoid, and tuberculosis? Do they really work or are these people conning the patients? Allison was quite angry as he didn't like people using the weakness of other people. Looking at the angry Allison, the guide immediately stopped him and explained, No, Master Allison, these guys are employed by the administrative headquarters themselves. All of the cure of these diseases were researched personally by Count John as he wanted to counter the Radiant Church. These medicines are only sold at the stores that are licensed by the administrative headquarters. There are also a lot of inspections carried out every month if those stores are running properly. Mist as well was quite surprised and thought, I guess we need to make an alliance with this Count. He is quite an intelligent man if he is able to create so many things. However, my only worry is his ambitions. Maybe I can get him engaged to Princess Emina if he is suitable for her. Taylor immediately came as he heard about the arrival of ambassadors from the Ionanoer Kingdom. Taylor immediately greeted, Welcome to Mr. Mist and Allison to North Frontier Kingdom. I hope you didn't have any problems on your journey. Duke Rose joked as he saw Taylor, It seems you have forgotten me after watching them. Taylor scratched his head and explained, No Duke Fjord, it was only a misunderstanding. Mist spoke with an expression, No, it was all good because of Duke Rose personally escorting us. You have quite a unique city. Personally speaking, I am very much impressed by the planning of this domain. The roads are good, the streets are clean and the law and order of this city is very good. Even we the elves always have a problem in big cities when it comes to law and order. Taylor was flustered and spoke, You flatter us, my lord. It was only possible because of the planning of our lord. Why don't you come to the administrative headquarters and talk there? Lord John will immediately head there as he is rushing with Master Refone after the inspection of southern borders. Allison agreed and spoke, Okay, let's head in. Chapter 172. Juan and Lily currently arrived at North Frontier City. Juan had agreed with Lily's request as he too wanted to investigate the cause of this war. Lily was eating the unique food from the food stalls at North Frontier City. Wow, the food here is wonderful, isn't it, Juan? It's good that you left the army, now we can travel as much as we want. Juan too was quite surprised and spoke, yes, I am more impressed by the roads and those bicycles here as I am quite used to the roads of Imperial City as well. The culture here seems quite different. People here seem to respect each other quite a lot even though some are slaves. I never expected to see such a scene in the Elias Kingdom ever before. Lily remembered something about the slaves and spoke, well, I heard that Lord John had decided to free all the slaves in his domain in 2 years. A lot of nobles were pissed after learning this fact as it seemed that he was directly confronting other nobles. I guess this respect for people comes from the Lord himself and hence the people. No wonder the people here respect their Lord more than the king. Juan nodded as he understood that the people here genuinely looked happy whether it was a rich man or someone like a farmer. Juan spoke as he spotted the administrative headquarters, well, let's go to the library or administrative headquarters. I want to meet some officials who know about the reason why this war started. I hope I can meet someone important or someone with a bit of authority. Lily pouted as she saw Juan's attitude and spoke, we have just arrived in this city and you want to work already? Why don't we tour this city first and later head to do official business? You see that clock tower? Juan asked confusingly, yeah, it's a beautiful and grand structure, what about it? Juan was quite surprised after hearing the use of clock from Lily. Juan exclaimed, I never thought it was such a useful thing. It seems this count wasn't as bad as it was depicted in the Laguna City. I heard about the funeral which he conducted for his soldiers. Lily spoke after remembering new suits in the shop she had spotted earlier, come let's first try those new clothes which have just recently started selling. I am sure that these new suits would look very refined on you. I heard those new suits were worn by Count John in the previous banquet when he made his personal tailor make this customized clothing for him. I also heard that Miss Josephine and Eva too wore those new types of clothing on the suggestion of Count. Now it has become quite a fashion trend to wear those clothes in banquets. Juan didn't want to go shopping as he tried to dissuade Lily, however, wouldn't it take a lot of time for them make those clothes for us? I think they would be quite expensive as well. Lily furrowed her brows and had a ready-made answer, no need to worry, recently there was a shop opened by Miss Josephine and Eva for these types of new articles of clothing. Let's head there. As for money, we don't need to worry. She thought, it was good that I read that new magazine from White and Black publishers about the new fashion in the upper circles or else I would have never gotten a chance to see and wear those clothes. Juan slapped his forehead as he prepared to loosen his wallet, he thought, such a hassle. Well, it's not bad considering the tense period we were going through. For the first time, I am missing that clingy guy. Juan sighed and headed with Lily. Okay, we will conduct official business later, this city is quite relaxing compared to other cities. I guess we may as well tour this city. One's colleague Bridge was laughing at John as he saw them and one's dilemma. Bridge thought as he saw them, I guess I shouldn't interrupt their precious time alone. Lighter wallet suits him anyway. Laguna City, night time. Henry was currently in an abandoned alleyway in Laguna City as he prepared to ambush Sebastian after days of preparation. Henry thought as he saw Sebastian entering the alleyway, it was good that I noticed his patterns of always drinking and going from this passageway. As soon as Sebastian reached the middle of the alleyway, Henry made his move and reached behind Sebastian using wind magic without getting noticed. Move and you die. Sebastian was surprised as exclaimed, what do you want? Henry didn't waste any time as he pushed a sleeping pill inside Sebastian's mouth and caught in a gunny sack. Henry spoke as with cold eyes as he tied Sebastian in the gunny sack, now this would be easy. Wasting no time Henry moved out with the gunny sack which seemed a grain sack without getting noticed. Henry moved out and traveled to a desolate house in the outskirts of Laguna City, now let's go to the interrogation mode. Both of them entered the desolate house after confirming that no one else was in the vicinity. Tim was now fully adapted to life in Aurora City as he just recently finished the infrastructures required for producing the ballista projectiles, armors, and gun ammunition for bolt-type rifles and other types of guns. Tim spoke as he looked at the bolt-type guns with great interest while Ross observed him. These guns are quite novel. I never knew that a bolt can be used in such a manner. Ross did not agree and spoke as he only looked for efficiency. I am more surprised by these sniper rifles. The bullets can travel 2+ kms, accurately. I think these will be the game changers in the upcoming battles. I wonder why we are producing so many different types of guns instead of these efficient rifles. Tim thought a bit and spoke. However, these sniper rifles will only be used by special forces and ghosts. In the theaters, they will only be used in extraordinary circumstances. If we reveal them, there would be big consequences and we may be targeted from all the sides with full force, you know. As for different types of guns, I guess Master and Lord want to see the different effects and their uses on different battlefields. I heard from other men that Mr. Jake came with his disciples and other special forces to train and tame those Aurora horses. Ross spoke with a sad tone after he remembered about the success rate. I guess revealing these snipers' rifles would truly be a calamity. No wonder, they are only kept for emergency situations. As for Jake and his team coming for Aurora horses, yes, these horses will be one of our trump cards as they can swim underwater as well. However, only Judd and Swan are able to tame the horses until now. I guess it is related to the familiarity of the rider with horses. Tim knew about this, asked another question as he recently spotted more of those horses in the stable as he frequently visited the horses. Did you guys caught more horses? Ross took a look at one of the new armors produced currently. Yeah, the new trick by Swan is coming quite useful in capturing those horses. While it is also becoming easier to control these horses via zilch berries. I guess we will reward that kid. However, do these armors really work? Tim asked confusingly. Do you have any doubts? Ross checked the lightweight armor with some doubt. You see, they are quite light, unlike the other armors I have seen. Tim remembered and understood his doubts after looking at his face. You were worried about the weight. I thought the same thing first. But it's all good. We have made all the required tests about the toughness of this armor. All of our armors are lightweight and this anti-penetration armor will be the best suitable for naval sailors as they can freely fight sea battles. You don't have to worry. I can guarantee you that much. Well, let's head to the shipyard and start refurbishing the new ships bought by Admiral Blake. Ross remembered about the shipyard. Yeah, I guess only the work of shipyard is left. There is one more surprise for you this time. Tim, what is it? Ross gave the instruction manual of boosters and spoke. It is about the magic tools that can increase the speed of ships. It was recently researched by Mr. Will and his team. The first batch of magic tools has arrived already. I hope you can fit them on Blake's main ship first thing. Here, take this instruction manual. It was personally made by your master for you. You need to train other guys to fit those tools on the ships. Tim immediately snatched the manual and started reading it without any worry. Ross looked at the port, which started looking like a town after a month of work. Ross thought, I guess it will transform into a city soon enough after more people arrive. Anyway, I should focus on farming on this island for now. Joe read the letter which mentioned that he was selected for special training on Aurora Island. Joe was currently going to meet with Elisa as he was about to depart for Aurora Island. Before leaving, he had decided to show his feelings to her and propose. Marsh sighed as he looked at the nervous Joe who wanted to confess to Elisa. He thought, this idiot still doesn't know that she already knows about his feelings and is only waiting for his proposal. Does he really think she doesn't know why he doesn't visit Hope usually? Always an idiot. Elisa wondered as she looked at Joe, who was looking at her from a distance. How much time would this idiot take to confess? Usually, he is quite macho in the streets when catching criminals. He becomes a rat when he meets me. She was a demon with horns and red hair. She was wearing the usual maid clothes in the hotel. Joe decided to approach and spoke, "Hi Elisa, how are you doing today?" Elisa sighed and answered like she always did, "Nothing, just the usual business." "What brings you here today? Are you here again for a new recipe of mine?" She smiled as he knew that her food never tasted good. Joe thought, "No, not your food." Joe strengthened his heart, finally spoke, "I will be leaving North Frontier Town in a few days. So I wanted to meet you one last time before departing." Elisa understood the meaning behind these words as Joe decided to meet her before departing. Elisa was quite tense and surprised as she heard him. Joe continued with a determined gaze, "I love you, Elisa, will you marry me after the war is over?" Elisa was flustered as she didn't expect him to propose to her before leaving. However, Elisa still answered him with a teasing tone, "Why wait for the ending of this war?" Surprised by her reaction, he subconsciously spoke, "I didn't want you to be a widow. But, I don't want you to be of someone else as well." Hearing him, Elisa smacked his forehead as she kissed him, "Idiot." Joe was surprised by her sudden attack as he embraced her and didn't let go as if fearing to lose her forever. Both of them embraced each other as the people in the hotel were quite surprised after looking at the couple. One of the old maids sighed and spoke after looking at the couple, finally. One of the guests spoke, "Do you know about them?" He was quite surprised after watching a demon and a human in such a situation. The maid smiled and spoke, "Yeah, just two lovers finally expressing their feelings to each other." The maid coughed as both Elisa and Joe came to their senses after hearing her and left embarrassingly. Marsh was surprised and left both of them, "Damn, even that idiot has a girlfriend now. Am I being left behind? Am I too conservative? Maybe I should also arrange for Elisa to go to Aurora Island. Nah, let him suffer for being lovey-dovey in front of me." Chapter 173. John currently came with Refone in a hurried manner to meet the ambassadors in the administrative headquarters. Hearing the rush of people, everyone understood that their lord has arrived and immediately made the arrangement for his meeting with the elf ambassadors from the Ionanoer kingdom. Taylor gave orders as soon as he spotted his lord, "Hurry, I don't want any mistakes from you guys." John greeted as he got ready and met the ambassadors, "Sorry for being late, Mr. Mist and Allison. Due to the wartime, I am busy inspecting the borders. I hope you didn't find any inconvenience." Allison was the who spoke first, "Nope, let's get down to business. We originally came here for the papers produced by you guys, but after witnessing this city, I have changed my mind. We were quite satisfied with the treatment of your men. We were originally only going to give you guys services of nature magic for your farms in return of paper trade, but this time we are willing to offer you the techniques of nature magic. However, you have to remember this, it can only be used by an elf." John was surprised as he understood the importance of this magic and asked, "What do you want in return?" Allison understood that John was wary and spoke in a calm manner, "Everything. I am especially moved by the medicines in your domain. These medicines which you have created have moved both me and Mist. We also checked if they work or not, and they were quite good. It looked like a work of miracle. We also heard that you made an announcement where you are going to free all the slaves in your domain in 2 years. While their life doesn't seem any different from common men. Even Rose's particular had never raised a voice against slavery. From this, we can see that you quite abhor slave but were forced to buy slaves for the prosperity of your domain, so we have made a decision. In particular, we want to create an alliance with you guys." John, Taylor, and Refone had a surprised look on their faces at the mention of an alliance. Elves very rarely made alliances, and when they made one, they would always honor it. Taylor thought, their expensive and out-of-the-world lumber can be used to make remarkable ships. I hope this deal is a success. Just trade with the elves would solve our problem of food. Mist was the one who explained to them, "We hope to send our men to study architecture and other things from your chief planner and Rose Institute. We will have no cap to buy any sort of magical resources which you require. At the same time, you guys would sell us items without any cap, There won't be any restrictions unlike the other nations, however you are not allowed to resell of our magical resources and only use them for the personal consumption of your domain. As a gesture of goodwill, we are prepared to give you the wood from the tree of beginning. Making it into a magic staff will bring out the biggest prowess of this wood. I think all of you know the value of wood of beginning. John had a confused face as he never heard of this wood. Duke Rose was quite shocked after hearing the offer of mist. It seemed as if his eyes would come out from his socket when he heard him. Looking at Duke's reaction, John was flustered in his mind and understood the importance of this wood and the significance of this deal. Looking at Duke's face, Mist smiled and spoke, "You don't need to be envious, Rose. He has earned this opportunity because of his courage and standing up for weak." Mist then turned to John and didn't press him for an answer. "You can take your time to make a decision." John was quite decisive whenever he made the deals for the benefit of his subjects, and this time as well he immediately made a decision. No need to wait. "I have made my decision. I am ready to offer you guys the medicine formulas in exchange for a royalty fee of 7% as it is related to the patients suffering this disease. However, I won't be giving you the technologies of other things in my domain as they are the fruit and labor of my men. If you can learn it yourselves, that won't be a problem, but I won't be serving these technologies on a platter to you guys." Mist was surprised after hearing John's decisive answer, but he smiled and spoke, "Ah, you misunderstand us. We only wanted you to sell those items to us, and in exchange, we too get access to your markets. I guess this deal from you is good as well. Do you really think we the elves don't understand the sweat and pain gone through by an inventor to create a cure or something innovative?" Sarah the A. I laughed as if she heard a joke when she heard Mist. She commented inside John's head, "Sweat and pain by this plagiarist? I guess these guys have never experienced the true power of this lord and fast brain and the simulation power behind it. Peasants as always." John coughed up a bit as heard from Mist. Mist spoke, "Okay, we have a deal. You are a quite decisive man. However, don't take this alliance lightly, young man. We always keep our words. We hope you do the same." "Well, I don't think you would betray us anyway. We will be staying here for a few days. Is it okay with you?" John was surprised after their proclamation and spoke after hearing them, "Okay, we have a deal. I too am someone who likes to keep up his words. Taylor, make arrangements for our guests immediately. We will have a banquet tonight. I hope you can attend it and join us by completing this deal officially." Allison was the one who immediately jumped on John's offer. "Okay, I am anyway more excited by all the delicacies of your domain. I have already heard a lot about the food of North Frontier Town." Taylor nodded and headed to make the arrangements as he led both the ambassadors to their resting places. Duke Rose only spoke now after both of them left. "You really surprised me this time around. You know both of them can discern both truth and lies. I guess you were able to convince them as you didn't lie to them. You have really hit a jackpot this time around. I wasn't as lucky when I lied to them about a minor thing." John thought and spoke after hearing the Duke, "Well, I never lie when I am making deals. I am not someone who likes to break a contract." Duke laughed as he heard him and joked, "It seems you have the blood of devils when it comes to honoring contracts. Well, they may fudge the wordings of a contract though. I hope you aren't the same." Sebastian opened his eyes as he saw water being thrown at him. Sebastian only opened his eyes to see a blurred figure in front of him. Adjusting his vision after a while, only now did he identify the figure in front of him. Sebastian had a grave expression as he knew who had captured him. Henry spoke in a grave tone, "You know what I want, right?" Henry continued to ask in an agitated tone, "Who ordered you to conspire against me and my family?" Sebastian only laughed after watching the agitated figure of Henry, who was breathing heavily. He opened his mouth and spoke, "You were a nobody who just happened to survive that ambush. You and I were simply pawns. Pawns of a bigger game that is being played by our masters." Henry made a cut on Sebastian's leg as he roared, "Don't bullshit and try to talk in circles with me. Henry remembered the bottle of black potion which was given by Count John before he left. He spoke, "You know what this is, right?" Henry continued, "It is the same potion that forced that guy from Radiant Church to be humiliated in public by Count John. You don't want to suffer the same torture, right? I will make sure you would beg me to kill you if you don't answer my questions. Don't forget to tell me about Darius and his schemes." Sebastian was someone who didn't fear death, but he surely feared torture of that extent. He very well knew about Francis, who had tough skin, but even he was a small cat in front of Count John. Well, it was all a ploy to convince Duke Fjord that Evan was killed by Count John's men while you abandoned Evan. If you managed to survive from that fall, then you would have exposed our ploy and hence the conspiracy against you. I guess your family wouldn't have suffered if you had simply died in the last assault. Darius? He is currently most likely training with his guards after he lost his eye at the hands of your wife. As for his previous actions, I guess Darius just wanted to play with your wife as she was quite a looker and hence, you know, right?" Sebastian smiled and spoke. Henry didn't even let him complete his sentence as he immediately thrust his sword into Sebastian's chest. "Fuck, all those assholes. All of them will fucking pay. This guy has the nerve to joke while being in captivity." Henry had a gloomy mood as he heard Sebastian's reason for why he betrayed him earlier. He thought, "It seems Count John was right when he told me about Sebastian being a spy of Prince Hector. Even if I can't target Darius, I can still target his loyal men who were present when they raided Lucy and Lucius." He had red eyes as he thought about the last moments of his wife. Currently, the mercenary bandits were getting bolder day by day as they targeted any caravan which left the patrol areas of the North Frontier Army. One of the mercenaries from the first-rank guild spoke, "These guys from the North Frontier domain are quite tough, unlike the beasts or other nobles." The mercenary head of the team took a ciggy and spoke, "Yes, it is particularly those mini ballistas and those armors which are a pain in the ass. We lost quite an amount of men to them. And then there are those ghosts who always target the heads of the teams from a range. I heard a lot of our spies were found in the trash bins up in the wild north. Upon inquiring, we got to know from local thugs that they were done in by the ghosts who would kill people after thorough investigation and their spying activities. The normal spies haven't been killed, but all those trying to infiltrate or make relations with officials were killed. This is one tough nut to crack." One of the new recruits spoke. "God damn it, I never knew this work would be this tough. I guessed it would be a riot like the other times." The head smiled and spoke, "Do you really think that the Radiant Church would share a piece of pie this easily if they thought that this count was a good pushover?" The new recruits thought and exclaimed, "No wonder, they were able to emerge victorious in their last battle against Duke Fjord. I heard that the Fjords had the best ships available with them." The head smiled and spoke, "No need to worry about Fjords. They have already made the prototype of the ballistas and are currently arming their fleets to teeth. And there is Gold Rush and Glorious Explorer mercenaries as well who have started moving." The newbie asked after hearing about other mercenary guilds, "Should we collaborate with them?" The head looked at the newbie and spoke as if he was looking at an idiot, "Are you an idiot? Let them suffer, we too have lost quite an amount of men. Less competition, more profit. When this city gets invaded, no one of them would remain as allies. These guys are only allies for convenience right now. Most of the people haven't shown their cards right now. This includes that count who has those demons and that master of his protecting him. However, his land would still be ravaged as he doesn't have enough power." The newbie shouted as he spotted 30 men trying to raid a big caravan, "Hey, aren't they the Glorious Explorer mercenaries?" The head nodded and spoke, "Look, the show is on way. I guess Joss just lost his head after losing his brother. This will be quite a show." The recruit asked, "Boss, why don't we target those big caravans?" The head looked as if he was looking at an idiot, "Do you really think that those big caravans are pushovers? I guess it is your lack of experience and hence you don't understand things. Look at this raid and you will understand." One of the heads of Glorious Explorer mercenaries roared, "Don't leave any one of them alive, that arrogant count will pay for his offense against Boss Joss. As soon as they got near, the sides of the caravans immediately fired the arrows from the mini ballistas while a magic knight burned a rune and gave a signal to the patrol through the sky. All the magic knights first used the mini ballistas as they killed several of the men. The new recruit was shocked after watching the power of the mini ballistas and the resistance of their armor which blocked most of the arrows cast by the mercenaries. He exclaimed. "What is that armor? Why aren't they getting penetrated?" The head ordered after watching the fate of the raiders, "Come, let's go, they are dead anyway." The recruit spoke, "Why are we leaving, boss?" One of the guys grinned and spoke, "You don't want to be caught by those patrols, right?" He spoke, "Ah, yes. I am coming, boss." He immediately followed after watching others had already left. As expected, most of them were dead and 3 of them who tried to pass themselves as dead were caught by the patrol. Jay read the report as he sipped his tea. So it seems even these bastards from the Glorious Explorers have started attacking our watch posts. Do you know who hired them? Or are they doing on their own violation? Marsh gave a report. From the report of ghosts, they and Gold Rush mercenaries were recently hired by Duke Fjord. As for others, we only know their origin but not their employers. They are from the top 3 mercenary guilds. Jay muttered as the number of raids increased daily, which discouraged more traders every day. It seems I need to tell John about the latest developments. What is the news about the recently built castles? Marsh gave the report. They are fully fortified with 15,000 men and ballistas, while the other 7,000 are at the northern borders, while others remaining are in the Navy, Internal Forces, and Special Forces. Jay furrowed his brows and asked, "What about rifles? Are they delivered?" "They are already delivered, however they are not allowed to be used right now currently. However, there is some good news currently." Jay was interested as he heard Marsh. What is it?" Marsh enthusiastically talked. Refone just recently completed building all the castles and we were successfully able to make a deal with the elves. So we won't need to be worried about food currently. We will be trading with them extensively. This is what I heard from Taylor when I visited them today. So we don't need to worry about the population now after this deal. Instead, we will use this against them. Jay asked as he had personally recommended Joe for special training. What about Joe? Did he accept his new appointment? Marsh laughed and spoke, "Yeah, the lucky bastard will be marrying Elisa before leaving. I wonder where he got such courage to propose before leaving." Jay was quite surprised as he spoke with a smile. "Well, war sometimes brings the best of people and he understands that this will be a tough time for North Frontier City. I guess I will not be able to attend his wedding." Chapter 174. After the banquet at John's palace, John's deal was officially signed with the elves. After the banquet, Allison spoke after trying all the cuisines. The praise of cuisine by those traders is understated. "I never thought the food can taste so good. The wines themselves were very good and of high quality. I guess only the tears of the 1,000-year-old aspen tree could match them. A pity that it can only be extracted them once a year and that too in low quantities. Yes, I have decided, our first trade will consist of all sorts of wines which were present in this banquet. I personally am prepared to use nature magic on all of your farms first thing tomorrow morning." Duke Rose was surprised after hearing Allison. "Ambassador Allison, are you sure? I heard you don't even usually entertain the dukes or other ministers in the Ionanoer kingdom with your nature magic. Or are you just spouting bull's tea?" Allison was drunk as he spoke in an angry drunk manner. "Of course I am sure. You think I would back down on my promise? I will do it first thing in the morning. I usually only get to drink once a year since I only have one 1,000-year-old tree in my yard. I am someone who doesn't joke when it comes to using nature magic." Mist slapped his forehead as he heard Alshan. He murmured, "Usually I only had to bear this type of nonsense from this guy only once a year. What a headache. This will be problematic." It seems this drink is really good that even Allison is moved. Allison heard Mist as he glared him with sharp eyes and asked in an angry manner, what did you say? Mist sighed and spoke, nothing. Mist murmured, I wonder if you are an elf or a dwarf, seriously. Duke Rose smiled as he saw Allison and spoke to John, you are quite lucky, John. Mr. Allison usually doesn't even entertain the Queen or Princess Emina if they want to use Mr. Allison's power for fun. He only uses it when it comes to emergencies. I guess this was also coupled by the fact that both of the ambassadors have a good impression on you, as you cared a lot about your populace regardless of their identity. Your fight with the Radiant Church was a blessing in disguise, as your medicines brought quite a shock to them and hence the chance of an alliance with you. John nodded as he understood their feeling after watching the happy atmosphere from them. Later, the whole kingdom got to know about Count John's alliance with elves. The most peculiar thing was that Ionanor Kingdom's strategist Mist and foreign ambassador were present in the North Frontier Kingdom. This was the most explosive news to the whole kingdom. Even John got to know about their identities later on. He was quite surprised by their positions. John spoke as he read about Duke revealing their identities to Aldrin. No wonder, Duke Rose was so respectful to them. This also means that they are quite confident in their abilities, as they traveled with a small team of elves. These guys didn't even bother to report me. John sighed and continued, sigh, I guess I need to cut some slack at least. In the Imperial Palace, King Lionheart was the one who was most bewildered about after reading about this alliance. He had a face which seemed it had gone full red because of the anger after reading this news. He roared in the ministerial palace as he read it, how is it possible, how the fuck was that upstart able to forge an alliance with those stubborn elves? I need an explanation. And what is this bullshit about them trading an extensive amount of goods? Our plan will be ruined if this count is able to feed his populace. One of the ministers in charge of magic metals named Griffin spoke, there is still a chance, my lord. If we attack him with numbers, we can easily occupy them. We also have those ballista blueprints with us. And this time we can make those ballistas with our magic metals as well. Our tests were almost successful for making those ballistas with magic metal when the upper ministers agreed to you attacking Count John in the previous verdict. The current results are successful. That count will be at a disadvantage when it comes to magic metal, and this will be our chance. Griffin was a young man with red curly hair and someone who possessed a kingly aura. This guy's name was Griffin Lore, the first son of the Lore family. A lot of ministers in the palace murmured, it seems he was always waiting for this chance. Can we really suppress this guy in the future? Lionheart was quite surprised as he heard Griffin, ha ha ha, no wonder you are from Lore family. Good news. Immediately start mass production of those ballistas with magic metals. Lionheart thought as he heard good news, he thought humph, that Count thinks that he is quite smart, hey. I will now let's see how this Count dances in my hands. It seems I need to reward the Lore family. There are anyway power struggles going on between the brothers and cousins in Lore family. They won't be a problem for us. Looking at King's smile, everyone understood what was going on his head. Lionheart groaned as he read another one of Hector's scandals in the paper. Damn, just how much trouble has this kid created in the kingdom that there is always a scandal about him every day in the newspaper. The royal family is losing face every day because of him. Can't he just carry enough money instead of scaring other guys in the auction using his power and authority? Nobody in the palace laughed as they pretty much got used to this scene of the king getting angry every day after reading about Hector. Part of the reason King read the newspaper every day was that he was curious about Hector and his everyday activities. Even the king himself didn't realize this fact. Currently, Wilson and other dwarf spies had started their own workshop near Tornwall Shop. Wilson grumpily spoke after reading the newspapers, damn, the dukes in this kingdom are quite ruthless. No respect for their men. No wonder this duke is making a stand against them. Greg shook his head and spoke, this boy is quite easily influenced. Jackson smiled and spoke, well, the information contained in them was true as well according to our reports. But there is certainly a bias. He is a kid, so it's expected for him to be influenced so easily. Meanwhile, those ballistas did more damage than what we expected. Recently Prince had a meeting with Duke Fjord. I guess he too is moving and showing his cards. Greg too nodded and spoke gravely, this will be a big war. I hope everyone at home remains safe. Ambitions of King Ludwin are quite big, as you might know. Jackson nodded as he agreed and spoke, of course the creation of that weapon shot itself started the fires of ambitions in his eyes, not to mention the previous coup. However, this weapon ballista itself isn't inferior in naval warfare. Greg looked around the shop and chewed. Jackson, I have told you many times not to speak about that previous incident. Forget about it, you will get your chance later on. You don't want to die a pathetic death, right? Jackson nodded as he controlled his emotions. He smiled and spoke after controlling his emotions, I guess you are right, the only thing we have to do is follow orders. No wonder I get angry at that kid whenever he opens his mouth, as he resembles just my past self. I would have died if you were not there to stop me when that happened. Greg nodded and indicated approval with his eyes and didn't speak anything as he had a smile. Gray then spoke after looking at the people, however, this town is quite good. It has a relaxed feel to it. And there are a lot of unique things in this town. I always thought that making the best weapons was our end goal. However, this town has broadened my horizons. Jackson nodded as he can't refute this fact. Yes, just that clock tower or those commonly used bicycles that are used by common people are masterpieces on their own. Just those bicycles have increased the trade and the flow of goods of this city. Greg spoke, well, it is only facilitated by the fact that this city has good roads. Anyway, I can make those bicycles after I studied them. Maybe we should make 3-wheeled bicycles or maybe even 4-wheeled bicycles, as this wouldn't be a breach of laws. Yes, I would make my bicycles the fastest ones in this domain. We the dwarves can't lose to this ragtag bunch of all other species. Jackson laughed and continued, ha ha ha, good idea, yeah, let's go that way. Jackson muttered after heard Greg, this city has really changed our way of thinking. I guess ideas would always create more ideas. Wilson meanwhile roared as he read the newspaper, oh my good. This count has decided to remove the cap on that unique alcohol. Now that is something good. Take that scummy king. No, I shouldn't be cursing him, it is because of him that we are able to enjoy those new wines. Greg and Jackson smiled as they heard Wilson, ha ha ha. Yes, the wine here is still the best. Come kid. Chapter 175. Palace of the Ionanoer Kingdom. Princess Emina just read a report that surprised her gravely. She asked her minister, so Mist has decided to ally with them. I never expected this sort of outcome, maybe I should visit them once. Minister Thomas of the Intelligence Department spoke, yes Princess, we too never expected this result of allying with that count. However, I think this would be for better, as that radiant church in the Elias kingdom is at odds with them while the dwarves are slowly showing their fangs near the water borders. Buying those ballistas will come in handy for us. I am rather happy that we made this deal with that count from an interest basis. Currently, we are preparing to send people to the North Frontier City according to the deal to their newly established Rose Institute. Minister Mist had a lot of praise for that count, which is very rare. Meanwhile, Minister Allison has already started using nature magic on their farms to relieve them for their future harvests. He was particularly astonished by the work people did even though winter is starting. Currently, he is in love with the wines produced by that town. This time they also sent medicine of malaria, typhoid, and other incurable diseases. I think this can also save you, as this was vouched by themselves. So a lot of things which surprised them. Emina was quite surprised hearing about the cures of malaria, as she was stressed recently. Really, they have the cures for such diseases? Have they sent it? Thomas nodded and spoke, yes, it is currently in the pharmacy with Miss Rebecca. Emina fist pumped and suddenly asked, as she quite interested in the count, good, this count seems very interesting, when is our team leaving for North Frontier City? Thomas thought about the schedule and answered her, tomorrow I guess, why do you ask? Wait, no, Don't tell me that you plan to go there immediately without making any preparations. The situation in the north is getting dangerous day by day, miss. I can't allow you to travel there. The Queen will kill me if she hears about this. At least let me make preparations to prepare a whole fleet for you. Emina was irritated as she heard him and immediately ordered, Mist and Allison are good enough to protect me. I don't want you ratting me out to mother, or else I will make sure to make your life hell with impossible tasks. Are you clear? Thomas shuddered as he remembered about all the rants and tasks he had to suffer in the past because of the princess. He sighed and decided to keep his mouth shut. He thought, I anyway can't stop her since she has decided and is resolved to go there. I will at least send dark elves from our shadow division as guards to protect her. Emina looked like a 25-year-old woman with long blonde hair. She had an average height, standing tall at 5 feet 7 inches. Currently, she was wearing a yellowish-white robe with a light yellow vest with a crown that had feathers. She also had a necklace with a diamond in it. The necklace had a lot of runes in the diamond. She had wood staff with a crystal ball on it which reflected its grandeur. Before leaving, Emina reminded Thomas, Okay, I am going to visit Joanna after taking the cures from Miss Rebecca. Make my preparations. Okay. Thomas nodded and sighed. Joanna was currently in bed. Emina visited her. You are still in bed? Well, I have a surprise for you today. This medicine was specially sent by Minister Mist from a place called North Frontier City. Joanna was quite irritated as she remembered about her disease and spoke in a frustrated manner, haven't all the healers in the kingdom tried their best without any results? Would this really work? I heard this malaria is a tough customer even for the best holy light magicians. Emina looked at Joanna and ordered her, why don't you try it? You will have to take it for 15 days before you see any effects. I won't be here, so make sure to take it. Plus why it is personally vouched by Minister Mist. Emina then looked at the servant and gave him a signal which signified that he would have to obey her orders. The servant replied after looking at her glare, Yes, madam. Joanna looked at the cheerful Emina and asked, It seems you are going again somewhere this time around. By chance you aren't visiting the creator of this medicine, are you? Emina smiled and answered, Yeah, your guesses are correct. Keep it a secret till tomorrow. Joanna sighed and spoke, looking at your excited face, I wish I could have traveled with you. This whole year was a mess because of this disease, even the healers are barely keeping me alive. I hope this works. Well, since Minister Mist is vouching for this medicine, I guess it will work. Charlie called his knight and asked, Is the plan ready yet? I don't want to miss this opportunity. Make sure that this mission is a success. Knight Drew spoke with a cunning smile, Yes, my lord, it is ready. We won't be traced back after this incident is over. I was just checking on the loose ends to make it perfect. Meanwhile, that dog is ready to go as well. However, this action will most likely affect Fjord the most. Drew was a tall man with black hair and a sharp face. He was someone who would attract people wherever he visited. Currently, he was wearing an armor which was filled with runes. Charlie touched his chin and gave an answer while looking at a certain direction with a smile on his face, It's okay, a weak Fjord after the war would be the best for us. Additionally, I have already made a deal with Ralph. However, that man is quite cunning. He had quite good instincts like when he abandoned the war, so we should cautious around him even though he most likely plans to backstab his father. This time, we will use that dog in this war the most. Drew sighed as he remembered about Blackdagger's brother and the report of North Frontier Town. Yes, recently there has been a lot of security in that town after that last assassination attempt. Meanwhile, that guy Jake isn't seen anywhere. I am guessing they are preparing something big. However, this time, he can be used as it will be a full-scale war looking at how things are turning. Blucia House in Fire Abyss Kingdom. Duke Friedrich Blucia murmured as he was looking at the report sent by Vlad, Why do I feel something bad will happen this time around? These ministers are getting on my nerves. After looking at the results of the last battle, it seems this weapon is really something. During one of the meetings in the Blucia palace, the Minister of Trade from Blucia House suggested, "Lord, we should bring back the princess. The situation at North Frontier Palace is very unstable currently. We shouldn't take any risks even though Vlad is with him. I heard from the reports that a lot of people are moving after the results of those ballistas in naval warfare." Chapter 176. Currently, ministers who were on good terms with Draco smiled as they felt that they finally had an opportunity to attack. One of the mayor of the three biggest cities in Blucia domain spoke, "Isn't it suspicious that Miss Diana, who usually doesn't stay at one place for a long time, is currently staying at a rundown place on the outskirts of the Elias kingdom, which is expected to be run down by Elias family and other dukes? I hope this doesn't end up like Prince Lukov and Apophis. I hope everyone here knows about the king's role in Apophis's death." The minister's name was Brooklyn. Currently, he was vying for the position for the mayor of Ozhtran city, which was the biggest and the capital city in their domain. Many were trying for this position as it was going to be vacated soon by the retiring mayor. As he wasn't promoted for a long time, he had currently decided to ally with Draco after a big offer from him. He was currently the mayor of Zazran city. Duke Friedreich furrowed his brows as he heard the attacks left and right from all the ministers. However, he could only keep quiet as he heard the reply of an elder from the upper seats. Elder Ryan, the head of elders from Blucia family, spoke, "Yes, this is truly troublesome. I too find that this is very disturbing and Brooklyn advice should be heeded. We need to get the princess out of that war zone. The Fire Abyss Prince has already moved the royal family against us, and that Vlad, he dares to disobey our orders even when we are in trouble because he wishes to honor his conflicting promise to a nobody count." After hearing rebuke from the elder, nobody dared to refute. It was in total silence. At this time, the mayor of all city, Crimson, spoke in a dignified tone to everyone present, "However, haven't we earned a fortune because of our trade with that count? This time we are in good profit, unlike the deficits we faced previously because of our high funding in defense and anti-spying activities. Or do you think the Fire Abyss family won't move against us if we didn't do anything? You guys should be glad that we have a good relation with Count, or I am sure the Fire Abyss demons would have already contacted that Count since he is at odds with Elias family." Crimson continued with a grave tone, "The sole soap and paper trade is enough to cover all our bills, not to mention other items we import from them. Meanwhile, those ballistas have increased the morale of our army and reduced our costs on arming a castle. The morale of the army is always important." This was refreshing for our knights as they always felt they were sieged on all sides. "As for Prince Diana, do you think any one of you can convince her when she has made up her mind to stay there? And what if she likes that count? It would be better for our family since he is quite intelligent and knows how to tackle his problems. Remember this, we are in the same as that count in Fire Abyss Kingdom. However, currently we are perceived as strong and hence no one tries to openly wage a war with us. While that count has achieved all of this within a year. This is no less of a feat and shows his capability to lead his men. I don't think he is a nobody with such feats. Lord Vlad must have a reason as he has decided to stay behind." Everyone in the palace was stunned with Mayor Crimson's speech, which refuted Elder Ryan publicly, which included the smiling Duke Friedreich. Duke always hated the elders for poking their nose on all the matters. Duke smiled and thought as he heard Crimson, "Yeah, so what if she likes him? If that man is her wish, then so be it. Today, the look on all these old geezers is quite refreshing. Take that all you bit-hees. I made the right choice when I listened to Vlad and appointed Crimson as the mayor of all city. He will be a pain in the ass for all of you geezers just like you have been to me. He has always been charismatic, good with speeches and understands politics rather than personal interests. Overall a good recommendation from Vlad." Elder Ryan had a face as if he was slapped tightly just now after hearing Crimson's speech. Elder Ryan refuted after hearing him out, "However, that guy is still naive as he easily believed the royal family and offered them the ballistas so easily. If he had a little bit of brain, then he would have monopolized those weapons unlike distributing them. In my eyes, he is not different than a guy who thinks he is all important since he can invent things. Capability in him? Humph. The very weapon he created will kill him, such is his naivety, and this is also one of the reasons why I want to stay away from this lunatic count. That guy has already started a tirade against the royal family because of the sanctions put on them by the king. He doesn't have the tolerance and ability to lead like a lord." Hearing this, everyone in the hall nodded as they heard the reasons why he was against this count. Crimson nodded and replied, "I don't know about that count, but I do know for sure that Lord Vlad would never keep Princess Diana in a dangerous place. He isn't someone who takes his job lightly. You might already know that when he is angry, then even Princess Diana would follow her without making any ruckus, as it concerns her safety. And the thing to prove is his 100% record on all of his previous operations. I hope everyone is clear and knows about this." Crimson thought, if that count was naive, then he would have already sold the formula of that cement or printing press before preparing himself. Even I would have opposed him if he was that dumb. That guy is clearing baiting everyone else. Even I was surprised at first, but only understood after Lord Vlad had decided to stay there. Draco smashed his hand as he heard Crimson. He thought, this guy has always been a tough opponent. Bribe, lust, assassination, divide and conquer, what have I not tried on this man? Humph, this time a lot of things will change whether anyone likes it or not. If I can't have this throne, then nobody else can have this throne. All the other elders in the palace were rendered speechless after hearing out Crimson. The elders were usually neutral, but their perspective was narrow, and hence their stubbornness, which was well known by Duke. Duke Friedreich this time stood up with a smile and spoke with an incredible aura which terrified everyone in the palace. "I hope everyone got their answer? As for those ballistas, we will be ordering more of them from that count. I don't want to ruin my relationship with that count. If worse comes to worst, we will give them refuge if the situation is dire. We can't be seen as pushovers on our borders. Is everyone clear?" Duke thought as he gave the speech, "It would be more better if I can have such a good inventor in my hands." Hearing no one murmuring nor replying, Duke dismissed everyone with a roar, "Dismissed." Nobody in the palace opposed him after hearing his order and went on to their work without making a ruckus. Draco gnashed his teeth as he left the room with a saddened face. Duke thought a lot after listening to the accusations of other ministers and elders who were worried about Diana. It seems I need to ask Vlad about Diana's feelings about that count. The ministers are not wrong, since this behavior is quite unusual by her. If my baby wishes to make him her husband, I will make sure he becomes my son-in-law by hook or crook. Nobody can stop this father to fulfill her daughter's wishes. And if this is true, then I need to find a way to bring my son-in-law home. Yeah, Vlad can help me kidnap him. Nat, since he is Vlad's student, I will order Vlad to come with him. My son-in-law will have no choice but to marry her, hoo-hoo. One of his ministers shivered after watching such a laugh from his lord. He thought, who is the unlucky guy to interest my lord? Meanwhile, at the same time, John almost had a shiver behind his back as he was reading the reports. He looked nearby and didn't find any sign of danger. He thought, I guess this war is getting on my nerves even after such a good deal with elves. Duke spoke to Crimson only now after everyone was dismissed. You did well, Crimson. Crimson shook head and spoke, I am only thinking the best for our domain. If that count was incapable, then I too would have naturally opposed that guy. While a lot of ministers in the courtroom give out a foul stench to me these days. Duke was amused and asked him, what type of stench exactly? Crimson spoke with hatred in his eyes, corruption and greed for more power. I am sure you know this type of stench, my lord. Duke sighed as he too knew about them, but was only waiting for an opportunity to get rid of them. He spoke, you don't have to worry about them. You can leave for now. Crimson nodded and left to do his official duties. One of the officials spoke after leaving the meeting, phew, I thought I would die just standing in front of that aura of Duke Friedreich. Another guy smiled and spoke, well, he isn't the Duke for no reason. He is the strongest warrior in our domain, at least in the Blucia family. Sometimes he is so forceful that he even disregards the orders by the elders. The official nodded as he remembered a certain incident. Yeah, I know about that that time it saved the lives of countless family members of Blucia family when he followed Lord Vlad's advice. Lord Vlad has been lying low for quite a while. Another minister roared as he spotted him gossiping about the last meeting. Come, let's go, we need to incorporate those ballistas in our border armies. Don't waste any time. Chapter 177. Princess Emina was just prepared to travel and was currently at the northern port in a disguise, just ready to board the ship. Thomas was currently giving orders to everyone in the shadow team to keep an eye on Princess and don't let any harm come her way. The head of the team, a dark elf, was called Bins, while some members were normal elves currently working under his lead. Thomas spoke to all of them. I hope every one of you is clear about your mission. Your only job is to keep Princess Emina safe, even if it means sacrificing your life in order to keep hers intact. I also hope you guys to not to create any ruckus at that city. We are already allied with that count. Since Minister Mist values him so much, you must understand the importance of that lord. So, is every one of you clear on all the instructions? Everyone roared in unison, with Bins taking the lead. Yes sir, we will make sure that the princess remains safe. It is my guarantee. Thomas remembered what the king instructed him and spoke to his guards, and, yes, at the same time I don't want her to find out that you guys are protecting her. She will be angry if she finds out that King's personal guards are protecting her. You all remember her disguise, right? The team spoke. We understand, boss. Thomas sighed and thought, good, that Elf King Eden was so understanding. I guess it was good that I approached him, or else the queen would have chewed me out. I guess his love for his daughter is always useful, and this is also one of the reasons that Queen is pissed whenever he spoils her. I hope King Eden remains alive after this ordeal. Thomas looked at the port and chased them out. Well, go behind her and don't lose track of her. The ships will be leaving soon. I have made extra preparations this time just to be safe. Wish you all best of luck. At the same time, he murmured, best of luck to me as well. I hope the queen doesn't find me, or she will kill me for helping Princess Emina. Lucius was currently on Aurora Island with Jake and others as he read about the latest raid of Duke Fjords. Lucius knocked Clay on his head as he was poking his nose currently and asked, Hey, I heard you met Admiral Blake. Is it true that they also have a kid in their ranks? From the news, I heard that they are engaging a lot these days with Fjord's navy. Clay irritatingly roared as Lucius knocked his head. Hey, what the fuck? Why do you hit me suddenly when I am thinking something important? Julius had a face as if was saying that Clay was joking when he spoke that he was thinking about something. You see, your action of picking on your nose could have potentially blinded me. It is I who should be angry and not you. As for your thinking, it doesn't matter. Anyway, quickly answer my questions. Did you really meet Admiral Blake? Clay looked at him suspiciously. Are you planning some mischief? Usually, you don't even participate in my plans. What has suddenly changed your mind? Lucius irritatingly looked at Clay, who usually acted stupid. This guy usually isn't sharp, but he has to ask questions when I am interested. This guy's instincts are good, as said by other teachers. I want to participate in this war. I can't let this guy rat me out, or my chances of participating in this war will be back to nil if anyone knows about it. Clay looked at Lucius and spoke. I don't care. If it is something fun, I too will participate in this plan. You can't leave me out. Okay. Speak fast. Clay spoke as he remembered his conversation with all the guys at the port. Well, yeah, I did meet Admiral Black when I was out near Aurora Port today, and it seems all of them are currently engaging Fjords while they also have a kid in their crew. However, that guy is bigger than us. If I remember correctly, his name is Swan. He is particularly good with those guns which we saw earlier, is what I heard from other guys. However, he is particularly weak in melee combat, so currently his supervisor Captain Judd is constantly harassing him. I mean training him every day. That's the other guys spoke. Lucius has cruel ruthless eyes only for a moment as he spoke this. It seems this guy Swan will be my ticket in this war. I mean our ticket in this war. Those eyes weren't missed by Clay. Clay's instincts kicked in and he understood that Lucius certainly had some history related to fjords. Clay spoke as he understood the goals of Lucius. Of course I will certainly join in. I can't leave my brother aside if he is going to do dangerous missions alone. Meanwhile, Clay completely forgot to mention that Swan and Judd were the only ones who were able to tame the Aurora horses, as he thought that it wasn't important. One of the officials came to find them. "Hey, you two, don't waste your time gossiping, it's time for your training. Later on, you will get a chance to tame the Aurora horses." Clay's eyes shined with stars as he heard about Aurora horses and immediately ran behind Scout. "Aurora horses? Wait, I am coming." Lucius sighed as he saw Clay running off at the mention of Aurora horses. He thought, as expected, this guy will still remain stupid. I can't expect anything better from him. Meanwhile, Clay smiled as he got a chance to get away from the awkward atmosphere. He thought as he walked, it seems, I need to keep an eye on Lucius or he will go to have fun on his own. Anyway, let's try those exotic Aurora horses. I have heard a lot about them from those sailors. It would be so much fun to ride them. Sudden silent killings. Jonas report to Fjord, there has been certain suspicious activities these days, m'lord, would you mind if I implore you? Duke Fjord's got a peculiar report right now from Jonas which was out of the norm. What is it? Jonas nodded and gave a brief summary to Duke. Can get the gist of the case currently. A lot of our knights have been disappeared or killed in cold blood or gruesome circumstances. Duke furrowed his brows and asked irritatingly, what sort of gruesome circumstances? Jonas nodded and listed some of the death which his men investigated personally. Some of our knights were castrated, some didn't have eyes, some didn't have their ears, nose, or tongue. And these cases are confusing a lot of men. A lot of knights are afraid and cautious while some are actively searching after this case. Most of the knights do go out alone at night these days in fear of getting attacked by the killer. Fjord asked as he thought that the situation was grave, did you find the culprit or got any leads on who might be the culprit? Do you think this might be the work of that upstart? Jonas shook his head and spoke, no, we didn't find any culprit but we got some leads. Fjord nodded and ordered, speak up. What leads did you find? Jonas gave a report which he made previously and summarized it to Duke Fjord. All the men who were killed or disappeared were connected to Lord Darius in some way is what I concluded from my observations. Only one guy is different from the picture. However, he didn't die gruesome deaths. This guy's name is Sebastian, he was the one who survived the ambush by that count when Lord Evan died. I think this work is most likely the work of disgraced knight, Henry. As this is the only conclusion I came from all the links. I think you already about his situation when Lord Darius tried to. Duke Fjord irritatingly stopped him as he heard about the previous disgraceful incident of Darius and spoke, enough. I got the gist of it. So according to you, Henry is the culprit. Admiral Shannon was quite surprised after hearing the conclusion of Jonas and concluded, this guy is very dangerous. With this guy, Lord Grim will most likely inherit the throne as long as this guy doesn't have bigger ambitions. It seems my doubts were the same as well since Henry met me previously. However, it also seems, he isn't targeting anyone unrelated to Darius. I guess he still doesn't want to kill unrelated personnel. Jonas nodded and gave his conclusions, yes, my lord, he is most likely doing this to avenge her wife. However, with these leads, we can catch him more easily as he is targeting Lord Darius's men and we can lay a trap for him. And there is one more reason why he is acting currently. It is because of our current loss in the seas which was spread all over the kingdom by that upstart. Henry is most likely targeting the morale of our army so more men desert us. Duke Fjord frustratingly accepted this result and gave his orders, damn all of these traitors. They can't leave me alone even after all the damage they have done to me. Okay, we will go with your plan. I want a public hanging of this bastard if he is caught. This will make sure that no one ever tries to betray me ever again. You will be in charge of catching that man. From now on, you can also join us at the strategy meetings. You seem to have good analytical abilities. Fjord murmured at the same time, after such a long time I was able to calm down the people in Domain after getting my hands on those ballistas, and now I hear this. Jonas was surprised as he heard Fjord's decision and was quite happy as he accepted Fjord's offer. It will be an honor to serve you, my lord. At the same time, Grim was smiling from ear to ear after hearing Fjord's decision to allow Jonas in his meetings. This will strengthen my power in the inner court. There was hubbub from all the ministers as they heard Fjord's decision and understood the reason behind it. Aaron too nodded as he thought, a good appointment, this guy is quite good at strategizing and analyzing his opponents. Chapter 178. There was a joyous atmosphere near the square in the North Frontier city. Joe's marriage with Elisa was taking place right now with a lot of people attending his wedding. It was not taking place in a church or temple of demons like it usually took place. This time it was taking place at the marriage hall specifically designed for interracial couples. Marsh came and gave a gift to Joe as he congratulated him. You will be surprised to find out the gift prepared by me and Jay. You have toned down a lot after you started dating Elisa. So I guessed that it would be helpful. Joe asked, really? Ahem. The guy conducting the ceremony asked, so Joe, are you willing to take Elisa as your wife lawfully? Joe answered as he was pinched by Elisa, yes. Of course I am. Elisa, are you willing to take Joe as your husband lawfully? Elisa, yes, I am. Both of you are husband and wife, you can kiss each other and finish the ceremony. John came and told, congratulations on your marriage, Joe. Joe was smiling ear to ear after watching John and others coming at his marriage. Thank you Lord for taking out your precious time and coming here. There were a lot of gasps and a lot of people were surprised to find out Joe's close relation to all the other officials. John signaled and gave a diamond rune to both of them. Nat, it was not a hassle. Take this rune, both of you, it will protect you in times of need. Joe didn't think anything about it and put it inside his pocket. Thank you, Lord. However, I still won't be going to Rose Institute ever again. I am free, ha ha ha. Everyone laughed as Joe remarked about his obvious hate for studies. John smiled as Joe didn't think much about the gift. Being simple-minded, it was good as Joe didn't bother about the gift and accepted the wishes. John thought, you will be surprised to find a new institute at Aurora Island. Ha ha ha. Well, let's wish her wife. Elisa was quite surprised after watching the craftsmanship and rune crafted on the diamond and expressed her sincere thanks. Thank you, Lord. This thing is quite precious. I don't think even sons of aristocrats would have the privilege to see such items. John pointed in the direction of Joe and spoken, it's okay. See Joe, he is taking it without saying anything? Right? It was made by both me and Tornwall. You shouldn't reject it as it was specially crafted for both of you guys. Elisa thought as she heard John, that's because he is an airhead and simple-minded. I guess I like this thing the most about him. Elisa nodded and took the runic pendant. Okay. I will take it. Marsh smiled and spoke to Elisa, you should head to the port with Joe after the ceremony. But don't tell him beforehand. Both of your rooms are the same. I will be leaving now, I was only here for your marriage especially. Minister J sends his congratulations and sorry as he can't attend your wedding because of the tense times. I will head to Aurora Island if time permits me. Elisa thanked him and smiled and took the papers that were handed to her. Elisa thought as Marsh left, Joe's friends are quite considerate. He is lucky to have such friends. One of Elisa's friends spoke, looking at your face, I guess you will be leaving with Joe real soon. Elisa was surprised and asked, how did you guess? Her friend smiled and spoke, well, you would have been in a hurry now, but right now you are looking quite happy after hearing something for Mr. Marsh. So I guessed you two would be leaving with Joe. Charlie was currently meeting with Hector to pull off his next incredible plan. Charlie asked him, what do you say, Hector? That count will be in deep shit if we can pull this off. I want your decision already. Hector thought a lot and asked, what's in it for you? I never knew that you had a grudge against that count. From what I know, you aren't someone who would make irrational decisions. Charlie slightly laughed hearing him and gave his reasons. Well, I allied with the Radiant Church and hence the part of the deal, nothing personal, what do you say? With this, Lord Father will have a reason to act as well. I think you also had enough of those newspaper, revealing all of your scandals. Hector thought, the Radiant Church will anyway throw you out after your use has been fulfilled. Hector furrowed his brows as he heard about his scandals and nodded. Hector spoke, okay, I understand. So how can I help you? I don't think you would need my help at all in this kind of operation. Charlie gave a report and spoke, I need that guy Antonio for your help. You see, Baron Mendez can be quite stubborn. We can use his son in this operation. From what I understand, Antonio is under your control so it can be helpful. However, I need fast answers, you know. I don't think you would need Alistair's opinion right now, do you? I think you can take your own decisions. Hector furrowed his brows and made a decision, of course I can make my own decisions. You have me in it. I too am quite pissed about those scandals which they are revealing on a daily basis. Since I am already infamous, maybe a little bit more. No problems. Charlie smiled and thought, well, I did too leak some of your scandals to them since I thought it was fun and useful for this meeting. I am surprised that he has taken a decision without consulting Alistair right now. I guess it was good that I pressed him for a decision right now. Charlie spoke, okay, bring in your men and make sure that Baron Mendez can't interfere. You can use that Antonio with power, money, and women from what I know. Hector spoke, I know. Charlie thought as he headed for a banquet, ha ha ha, with this, my hands will be clear from this event. It feels so good to manipulate your brother to do your bidding. Baron Mendez spoke as some of his knights were capturing him, what are you guys doing? Don't you know I am your lord? Antonio only came now after Baron Mendez was in chains, not any more father, you have lorded for a long time, after such an offer from all the other guys, you are still afraid of that guy even after royal family and Prince Hector has got their hands on that weapon? He is just a small count with a small land. The very leverage that he had against the royal family has long been lost. Antonio smiled and continued, the knights are already pissed with treating those assholes at our port with respect. Our post is near chaos because we have offended Duke Fjord already. If not for King Lionheart, they would have already attacked us at that port. Prince Hector has personally chosen me for this mission. I don't want you blocking my way. With this operation, no one will be able to stop my rise. Baron Mendez roared, what sort of deal have you made? You don't understand politics, my son. You will be burned if you take sides now. What do you know about me being weak? If not for my cautious nature, do you think you can hold this fiefdom for a long time? Baron Mendez turned to the direction of the head of knights and spoke, as for you knights? Just because you have not been to a brutal war, you think you can fight? Remember this, you have not felt humiliation at least against that count. But I know one fact about his personality for sure, if you offend him he will kill you guys. The knight's head rebuked with mockery as he heard Mendez, he can't do shit now that even Prince Hector has ballistas with him. As for his anger? No one gives a shit about it. Prince Hector has personally guaranteed the safety of our domain as he will immediately deploy those ballistas. That count is only waiting for himself to be invaded after offending all the lords with his previous declaration of freeing all the slaves. Well, we'll see how he acts after there is a blockade at the eastern port against him. Antonio irritatingly ordered, shut his mouth up and bring him to the chambers. Inform everyone that I will be leading the Mendez domain from now on. We will not be blockading that port for now. You guys need to wait for a while. Chapter 179. Currently, some knights were traveling to the nearby villages of North Frontier City in disguised clothing with which they couldn't be recognized. One of the rookie soldiers who joined the knights asked his captain, "Captain, is this really okay?" Captain rebuked the rookie and spoke harshly, "What do you know? These guys already hate the royal family. There is no wrong in killing traitors." The rookie soldier thought as he asked his captain, "If we are righteous, then why aren't we doing it in open? I never joined the knight order to do such dirty deeds. If I knew, I wouldn't have joined these scums ever. Where has their honor gone?" Looking at the tense situation just before the operation, one of the veterans came near the rookie and told the rookie, "Boy, you need to mind your words, Captain has already lost his brother. I heard he was in a mercenary group since he couldn't join the knight order because of his indiscipline. So there is nothing calming his temper. If you don't want any trouble, then simply follow the orders. It would be better for everyone." The rookie nodded and followed behind. He thought, "Humph, he was killed with Gold Rush mercenaries for not following the law and order of North Frontier City. Those mercenaries are usually running amok if they get hold of the neck of nobles. He shouldn't have joined the mercenaries in the first place. I hope the fire god forgives me." In village Greenwoods that was south of North Frontier City, currently, a lot of people used to travel to North Frontier City as they worked there, and hence the positive atmosphere towards North Frontier City. It was still in the domain of Baron Mendez. There was a lot of hubbub in the village as they got news about Lord John's fight with Duke Fjord and how the royal family had recently sanctioned the Count. One of the men who usually traveled to North Frontier City spoke, "Recently, it is a lot harder to travel to North Frontier City because of all the problems between Count John and other hierarchies." The farmer asked, "What sort of problems?" He sighed and spoke, "Currently a lot of fortifications have been made on the borders of North Frontier City because of the fight between Count John and Duke Fjord. From the administrative officers of North Frontier City, I heard that there was friction between Count John and King Lionheart. They claim that King Lionheart betrayed Count John in the last verdict and stole their ballistas without honoring their promise. And hence they are taking precautions and making fortifications. They have already made a number of castles so that they can sortie whenever there is a problem." The farmer sighed and spoke, "Really? I never thought that the king wouldn't honor his promise. I guess the rumors of the Lore family are true as well. I heard you recently joined the Rose Institute on a part-time basis. How will you manage if a war breaks out?" The villager sighed and spoke, "I guess I will have to wait. I still haven't decided to buy a home there as there are high prices currently because of an influx of people and investors." The farmer spotted some knights and spoke, "Hey look, some knights are coming. Come, we can ask them about the current situation." The guy spoke but the farmer already left. "Wait, they don't have any flag representing their allegiance." The guy had a guard up as he read about certain instances in Rose Institute and waited. As soon as the farmer reached, he was slashed by the one heading the group of 300 knights. "This scum dares to approach us. Don't leave a single asshole of this village alive." Hearing the roars, the guy shivered as he took his bicycle and immediately headed in the direction of North Frontier City without even blinking. He knew that he would most probably die, but he pedaled as fast as he could and immediately headed out of the Greenwoods village. Immediately there were cries for help from people who didn't know why they were being targeted. Not even the newborns were spared. The knights were using water, fire, wind, and earth magic to their full efficiency. Bang! Bang! Sounds of swords and magic rang throughout the village as there was a complete massacre. Looking at this scene, the rookie almost vomited but kept his calm as he killed men just enough to live without blinking. He saw that a man was escaping in the direction of the North Frontier City. He chased behind him to escape the hellish scenes that were taking place here today. Women, men, elderly, everyone was targeted without remorse from the knights. Some knights were ravishing the weak women and children without a blink of guilt in their eyes, while some simply killed them all without blinking. At last some people from the village started grouping and resisting the knights. However, it was futile. One of the knight captains mocked their futile resistance and ordered his men, "Humph, these guys think that they can resist us. Charge, kill all of them." The guys who resisted were as good as vegetables on a chopping board in front of these magic knights. One of the boys of about 19 years asked with red eyes full of anger and sorrow, "Why? What was our crime?" He had already lost his parents while his sister was ravished and killed by the knights just a while ago. The captain of the knights made a cruel smile and spoke, "Blame the fact that your allegiances lie somewhere else. Blame the fact that your mates in this village hate the king more. Blame the fact that you were born in this village. Blame the fact that you are weak." Without waiting for the kid's reply, the captain slashed the kid in his chest as he fell on the ground. He became unconscious as he fell. The kid thought, "Ah, I was weak. I guess that's my fault. Never again would I be weak." Looking at his men taking their time, the captain roared, "Enough of your fun. Kill all of them fast and round up this act. The Gold Rush mercenaries won't save our asses for long, so finish it up real fast. I have talked to their head, so no need to chase them, they will be killed by the Gold Rush mercenaries, all the guys who are escaping would die anyway." The rookie chasing after guy thought after watching the massacre, "It seems we have really lost all of our morals as predicted by that count. Maybe I should bet on this guy and Count John." The rookie was chasing after the guy with keen eyes on his horse when he saw some mercenaries trying to round the guy. The rookie irritatingly spoke, as expected. "Humph! I will bet on this guy to escape." This time the rookie increased his speed and decided to save the guy from the mercenaries. The rookie immediately charged towards the 3 mercenaries and slashed one of the guys with fire magic. One of the mercenaries roared as he saw his mate getting slashed by the sword, "Hey, what are you doing? Don't you know we the Gold Rush mercenaries have a deal with you guys?" The guy escaping was looking at the knight with surprised eyes. The rookie roared at him, "What are you looking at? Run on that weird machine to the North Frontier Palace as soon as possible and report about the current situation to Count John or his courtiers. Don't miss a single detail. Run! I can't save your ass for long." The guy immediately started running without waiting for a second. The knight blocked the way for both mercenaries and without any restraint started using fire magic. The head exclaimed, "Interesting, a fire magic knight? We will deal with this guy first. He is dangerous." The other mercenary nodded and both charged towards the knight simultaneously. There was a gruesome battle between both sides as the captain himself was a water magic knight as well. Both of the sides were bloodied, with one mercenary losing his finger to the rookie. The rookie knight was bloodied as he finally decided to use his trump card. He chanted with his sword pointing towards the sky. "I guess this is enough for my endurance." He chanted as he pointed his sword towards the sky, "In the name of my lord, fire god, grant this servant of yours the power to annihilate my enemies." He cut his finger as most of his blood dropped and turned into vapor. The sword was burning with dark red molten fire as the blood turned into vapor. He used the flame pillar which came out from his sword. It was giant in size. The captain was surprised as he heard the chant and immediately panicked. The captain cursed, "Damn, he is the follower of Fire God. We are fucked. We need to run. Only boss can handle this guy." However, it was too late for him as the rookie pointed the sword in his direction, which annihilated both of his enemies. There was nothing but ash left after this battle. After this battle, the rookie was exhausted as he laid on his horse and headed in the direction of the North Frontier City. He was bleeding heavily as he was moving forward. He fell unconscious as he was traveling on his horse. Before falling unconscious, he thought, "Damn, I used too much of my life force. I guess this would be worth it even if I lose my life for that guy being able to reach the borders. Dying while doing something noble is always better than dying a disgraceful death." The villager finally arrived at the border posts of North Frontier City, which were being patrolled constantly by men in horses with weird tools. The guy wailed as he reached and asked one of the officers, "Save us, please save us, we need your help. Our village is being attacked by unknown men." One of the men identified the guy who used to frequently travel to the North Frontier City. "Aren't you from Greenwood's village?" The villager nodded as he took some breath. Yes. Officer told him, wait, I will call my superior, he will take the decision. Officer turned to his men and ordered, meanwhile you guys need to keep alert. If any hostile group tries to invade, kill them on sight. All the guards answered as if it was ingrained and a reflex in them, yes, sir. Soon one bloodied knight came on a horse. The patrols were already alert after hearing the villager out. The guy who came on the horse was already unconscious with grievous injuries. The villager was surprised as he spotted him. Don't kill him, he was the one who saved my life when I was escaping the village. He was the one who fought with the Gold Rush mercenaries who targeted me when I was escaping. One of the soldiers spoke after hearing out the villagers, no wonder, we didn't see those bitches of Gold Rush mercenaries trying anything funny today. Chapter 180. Marsh spoke frustratingly as he was piled up with paperwork because of the recent war preparations. He roared as he heard a knock on his door, don't call me if it isn't anything important. Marsh's subordinate spoke from outside, it's urgent sir. Marsh nodded for him speak fast, okay, speak. The subordinate came in. He gave the report and summarized it to Marsh, Greenwood's village is being attacked by a group of armed people. Most likely knights, this is urgent, sir. There is a massacre of massive proportions going on at that village. Marsh was alerted as he read the report. After reading the report, Marsh immediately headed to the border post and met the villager. Hearing about the incident, Marsh had a grave face. He roared to his men, on to your posts men, from today onwards, all of you will be extra alert from now on. Kill any hostile invaders. I don't want anyone of slacking during these times. Marsh handed two letters to his scouts, bring this letter to Jay at the nearby castle and this letter to Lord John. This is a very serious matter. Bring their reply as well. Okay. Everyone answered in unison, yes, my lord. Marsh ordered, 500 of you men will come with me to Greenwood's village. If any one of those perpetrators is still there, I will make sure they regret this for their whole life. One of Marsh's subordinates was against this decision and laid out his reasons, is it okay, sir? This will be considered an invasion by other lords and this may affect us. Why don't we wait for Lord's decision first? Marsh shook his head and spoke, we will still be accused of invasion if we don't act now, this is a big conspiracy which is aimed at us. If that guy who helped that villager wakes up, tell me immediately. One of the doctors shook his head and claimed as he looked at the rookie knight, he most likely won't wake up soon, that guy is already in a coma. I think that only Lord John can most likely wake him up if he checks him up. He is already in a coma. All the people at Greenwood's village were killed by the invading knights disguised in normal civilian clothes so no one of the travelers suspect them. The captain ordered everyone, let's go. Our mission is complete. Make sure to take away all of our mates who were killed. The veteran and the captain noticed that he couldn't find the rookie, as for that rookie, we will remove his records from our register. It seems he has died while chasing or already fled. Just looking at the way he almost vomited should have been our wake-up call. I guess I didn't want any chaos within our ranks. Sigh, such a good talent who is bound by the chains of morals. No need to worry about him guys who tried to escape. We haven't left any corners loose this time around. The Gold Rush mercenaries have collaborated with us so there would be no problems. That guy most likely died at their hands if he was trying anything funny. 1 hour later. The mercenaries avoided Marsh and his men like a plague as all of the 500 magic knights were charging throughout the forest to reach Greenwood's village as they were armed to the teeth. Marsh and his men were heading for Greenwood village without hiding their destination or their killing intent. The leader of Hell's Playground mercenaries, Liam, spoke with a cruel smile, interesting, it seems someone has played a big move. No wonder, Jim was behaving so nicely with everyone today. He was the same guy who was advising his men previously when he was teaching the rookie. He was the head of the biggest mercenary group in the Elias Kingdom. Liam gave an order in a grave tone, okay, we will be drawing back for a few days, Just looking at the reaction of those soldiers from the North Frontier domain, I feel there is a storm coming up for sure, and we the mercenaries will be the ones who will bear the most burn of this conflict. Let the other guys be the cannon fodder for this conspiracy of others. Knowing the personality of that count, I am sure he will target every mercenary on his borders. Ed the rookie asked with a confused face, "Why do you say so, boss? Won't he be more cautious now that such an attack happened at his borders?" Lane stroked his chin and explained, "Well, it's because my instincts say so. If he was someone who can be controlled even a little bit, then they wouldn't have minded those sanctions which were aimed him." But, what was that count's reaction? He told the king to fuck off via his newspapers, didn't he? Ed looked suspiciously at Liam and counter-questioned him, "Nat, I never read something like that." "Stop lying, boss. Do you think I can't read, so you want to fool me?" Liam slapped his forehead and thought, "This idiot." Liam slowly explained, containing his anger, "I am talking about the actions of that count. He has made a lot of moves which have directly affected the king's interest after that verdict, instead of simply taking it lying down. Now you understand? Don't make me speak twice if you are itching for a beating." Ed remembered about Red Moon and spoke, "Ah, yes, I got it. I understand that since we are able to drink Red Moon every day." Okay, so what will you do, boss? Aren't we following Radiant Church's lead this time around?" Liam shrugged and spoke with a smile, "Fuck them, I ain't going to become their cannon fodder. Just some of those magic knights who protect those big trade caravans are scary enough. I wouldn't want to face such a group of magic knights with those weapons and armors. Those swords of theirs are already lethal enough to cut our armors like nothing, not to mention their mini ballistas where they can kill us from a distance." Ed remembered about armors and spoke, "Ah, yes, their armors are sturdy too. Aren't you wearing the same one, boss? While all of their men are quite good at riding horses." Liam nodded with a smile and spoke, "Good, now you are learning faster. I only got this armor from one of the guys selling it in Dolores. I guess he stole it from some officer at North Frontier Town and came to Dolores to sell it. Well, it's all good as long as I am safe. This time Jim will most bear the most burnt after these actions from him." "Humph, a fool." Ed nodded and spoke, "Okay, as you order, boss. We will back off since we don't have the same armor as you." Ed sheepishly spoke and ended his sentence with a smile. "Cunning kid." Liam smiled and they headed off for their base. Liam was a lean man with quite a height and sharp face. He had red hair and looked quite handsome. Every one of them laughed as they heard Ed and headed to their base. Marsh and his men arrived only now after everything was over. A lot of soldiers were angry as they saw the men who used to travel in their city daily. One of the soldiers cursed as he saw one of his dead mates in the pile. "Fuck! How can this happen? Why weren't we informed about such a big mobilization of our enemies? What were the ghosts doing at that time?" One of the men looked in the same direction and exclaimed, "Hey look, this guy is still breathing, quickly bring first aid to treat him." The medic knight claimed, "He is badly wounded, I wonder how he is still surviving. Come, help me dress up his wound. He can still be saved." It was the same boy who was slashed by the captain of the knights that invaded the village. Marsh ordered his men, "Look up for other survivors, we are moving back." Marsh continued as he looked at the scene of the massacre with dead cold eyes, "My hands are tied for now. Damn, I wish I could shoot all of those scums already." After their operation, the captain spoke to Prince Hector and Antonio who were present in the meeting. The captain gave his reports, "It's done, my lord. All of the people in Greenwood Village have been killed. A perfect operation. I was able to take help from Gold Rush mercenaries who killed all the guys who were escaping." Hector nodded and spoke after reading his report, "Good, now the wheels of fate will move faster after this incident. I don't think anyone would take this lying down." The captain remembered something and reported, "Yes, we heard that Count John's men just arrived an hour later with a bigger force when we left the Greenwood village. We can use this to our advantage." Hector laughed in victory as he toasted with his men, Ha ha ha, you did well leaving early. Now let's see how he will save his ass. Previously he thought that those weapons will help him. Humph, this time his very own weapons will kill him. Duke Norman spoke, yes, with this we can start our operations and block the eastern port from where he is earning a fortune. Now let's see how this fish flails without any water. We will blame this incident on Count John and his men invading Greenwood as an excuse to block the port. I don't think that King and the courtiers would mind. I think they are already preparing for an excuse for war looking at King's stance. Alistair slapped his forehead as he looked at the current report. He thought, damn, how can Lord take this decision when I was only gone for 2 days? Did anger get the better of him? This will be irreversible. I guess they are counting on blocking the port to their advantage. This would mean that Count John would be forced to invade the eastern port and a bigger war. I hope he doesn't ally himself with other powers and gift the ballistas to them.